Sylvester is a tough act to follow, but my name is Nastia Voynovskaya, and I'm the Associate Editor at KQED Arts and Culture, and I'm so excited to welcome all of you to Mighty Real, a queer dance music history. How's everybody doing? So it's Pride Month, which means we're celebrating all the identities under the LGBTQ umbrella. But Pride is about so much more than just partying and having fun. The dance floor is the place where many of us in the queer and trans community meet the people that might one day become our chosen families. That's certainly been the case since before 1969, when drag queens and trans women of color led a riot against police brutality at the Stonewall Inn in New York. They kicked off the modern-day gay rights movement, and the movement has grown and changed over the years, but some things remain the same, which is the dance floor is the glue that holds so many of our communities together. So to talk about how that's changed over the decades, I'd like to bring out our panelists. So I'm just gonna get cozy and introduce Steve Fabus. So Steve is known as the godfather of San Francisco's gay disco underground, and he's been DJing here in San Francisco since 1976. He's been a resident at legendary clubs like the End Up, Trocadero Tracks, and Tracks NYC, and he helped launch Church, which was the early Sunday morning party that went from the 80s all the way to the 2000s. And he's a resident. Yes, welcome, Steve. So these days, Steve is a resident at Hot House SF and Go Bang, and I'm so excited to have you here, Steve. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's an incredible situation here. It's wonderful to be here.
Thank you. And next, I would like to invite up Tita Aida. So Tita is an award-winning activist whose advocacy paved the way for HIV and AIDS testing, education, and outreach for Asian Americans, trans people, and people of color. She is also a legendary lip-sync performer and one of the original entertainers at Asia SF. And nowadays, she serves as the Director of Programs and Community Engagement at the San Francisco Community Health Center. So everyone, welcome Tita. Hi, Tita. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And up next, let's welcome Black. Black is known as the mother of all DJs because she's mentored so many DJs that are active in today's queer party scene. She's performed with big names like Masters at Work, Erykah Badu, and Tony. And her party, yes. And Black's party, A-Blunt, which stands for Asians, Blacks, and Latins Uniting New Tribes, was one of the first parties in the Bay Area for queer women of color. She also went on to produce Ships in the Night and Hella Gay, and you can see her every month at 7th West at her party All Staff. And she's also the, or All Spice, and she's also the SF Pride Community Grand Marshal. Cool. Hi, Black. How are you?
How's it going? Everybody, by the way.
And last but not least, we have David Harness. David is one of the most popular house music DJs in San Francisco, and he's been playing here since 1990. He actually helped popularize house music on his show Yo Mama's House, which was on KMEL. And David's performed with big names like Frankie Knuckles and Louis Vega, and as a producer, he's worked on projects featuring Mary J. Blige and Aretha Franklin. And yes, and he's a resident at the Mighty Real Pool Party, which is coming up next weekend on Pride Weekend.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
Yes. So to start out our conversation, let's travel back in time to the 70s. So Steve, before you came to San Francisco, you were living in Chicago, and you were a member of the Gay Liberation Front, which was one of the original queer activist groups that came out of Stonewall. And you worked with the Black Panther Party, the anti-war movement. So what was the party scene like in this time when so much change was happening?
Well, there was so much energy going on in the community, a number of communities, the coalition of political power, going on in the 70s that started in the 60s. Because of that, there was a lot of activity in the new clubs that were opening. one of the big things that changed is that these places were actually gay-owned. Before the 70s, it was mostly like syndicate or mafia type owners owning the gay clubs. So that was a big change.
Yeah, and that also was around the time that gay people could dance together without being criminalized by the police.
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable to think that in the 60s, through the 60s, it was actually illegal for two people of the same sex to dance together in public. So in the 70s, because of the political power that was manifesting, we changed that in a big way. So.
Yeah, definitely. So when you started DJing in San Francisco, what was a typical weekend of partying like for you?
Well, you want to hear everything? Yeah, sure. It was a full tilt party. I mean, we had all these new clubs opening. We had the I-Beam. The End Up was going, Trucadero, Mine Shaft. There was, the bathhouses. All kinds of recreational activities that you could get involved in. But anyway, it was just people were coming to San Francisco from all over the world. This was like the gay promised land, and people. It was kind of a cosmic thing. Even it was like people just felt like they wanted to move to San Francisco. A lot of people moved to San Francisco in the 70s.
Yeah, and so Tita, Black, David, so when you were young people growing up, you were sort of absorbing those disco influences of that culture that Steve was describing. So what impact did it have on you?
Well, I wasn't here when I was young. I grew up in the Philippines. However, the Philippines is pretty progressive when it comes to the music scene. Like, the only thing we didn't have back home were extended mixes, the 12-inch extended mixes, but we had record companies that was bringing music there, and I knew already I was different, and I knew that I loved disco, and when I saw that flashing like disco's dead, I was like, oh no, what's next, so, but when I came back here, I mean, I was already exposed to that, and then when I moved here to the U.S., I mean, it hit me like thunder, because suddenly it's all real now. What I hear, from in the Philippines was all in front of me. I could buy them, I could play them, and dance to them.
Yeah.
And for me, growing up in Houston, I knew I needed to get the hell out of Texas. I'm gay. And they got a problem. And and so when I decided that I was going to move to San Francisco, I knew I was like, my heart was going to be found in San Francisco instead of was left there. I was looking for something that was going to make it okay for me to be gay and Black. And I wanted those things to happen in San Francisco because I heard that it was where you go. So I came here, and the club scene has made this one of the most amazing experiences that I've had, and it is the reason why I am who I am today.
Atta girl. I grew up through the military. My dad was in the Army, and Monterey Fort was the closest military base to Southern California. So as a kid, my way of seeing how the disco scene and how the music scene was going on in the Bay Area was through TV shows or the news. Once I got my boombox and we would travel down to LA to go see family, I really found my niche of the music scene through radio. And as soon as I knew I was getting close to the vicinity of Los Angeles, that antenna went up, trying to find it. And, I literally learned later in my DJ career that some of that music that I was listening to was sort of the prerequisite of what I do today. Frankie Crocker was part of the Paradise Garage, and him and Larry Levan had such a relationship. And the station that I listened to at that time was Cute 102 in LA, and it was like, I'm hearing the Peach Boys and Yaz and all these songs that were new to me, and I just wanted more of it, so, yeah.
So in the 80s, Steve, you started Church, which was the early morning party at the end of. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what the scene was like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a turning point for the End Up, but also for the city in the sense that the Sundays at the End Up, that was, basically was starting the whole chapter of the Sunday morning party and tea dance that David would end up taking over.
I think I joined a dear friend of mine who's actually here in the audience, Dave Peterson, started Fag Fridays, and he was managing the venue. So there was a lot of opportunities for, the Asian parties that we talk about later on. But that became one of my longest residencies. I started doing the tea dance while I was still playing Club Universe, and I did the End Up for 16 years. Fag Fridays, Sunday tea dance, and then Sunday night went to Super Soul Sundays, and then that was it.
So Church started at 6 in the morning, right? After everyone kind of had been partying all weekend.
Yeah, I mean, people were, out all night. I mean, people expected to lose at least one night of sleep per week, every week. And they were at the Trocadero, or they were at the bathhouses, or whatever, partying anywhere in the city. And they would end up at the End Up. I guess it gave its true meaning of the word End Up, was ending up there at 6 in the morning. And it was just phenomenal. People poured in, by 7 in the morning it was packed.
Wow. So to give everyone a little sense of the vibe, we actually have a song that Steve liked to play at church. So we have Keep On by D-Train.
Right? Keep on.
I think it sounds different when you're at the End Up, when
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right.
especially around 10 o'clock in the morning, when everybody's feeling it, so.
That is true.
Totally.
Yeah, with 100 other people.
Yeah.
200 other people.
So I wanted to talk about Sylvester, whose music video we saw earlier. So Sylvester is probably the biggest disco star to come out of San Francisco, and he had a pretty major impact on the scene. And Steve, you actually knew him.
I knew him. I first met him when he was with the Coquettes, which was the radical drag troupe that was like, I guess, to explain what the Coquettes were drag queens on acid. And Sylvester was part of that troupe, and he would sing at their shows that they would put on at the Palace Theater in North Beach, and that was the main place where they put on shows. But yeah, I got to know him back then, and his first band was a rock band, actually. It was Sylvester and the Hot Band. And as the years went on, of course, he felt the disco, the disco vibe and beat, was a huge part of, the direction he went into. And so, basically, he's, iconic. I mean, there's nobody like Sylvester still to this day, really.
Yeah, and musically as well, right?
Totally. Sylvester, to me, to this day, is one of those artists that was able to cross so many genres within the genre. For me, we always heard the black versions of Sylvester. I mean, we heard all the high energy records too, but, he really made his mark within the club scene throughout the U.S. If you go to New York, you heard all the mid-tempo stuff. He was legendary at the Garage.
Right.
Whereas in San Francisco, Menergy, Do You Want to Funk, all the super high energy stuff with him and Patrick Holly. So he was no joke. Still no joke.
Yeah, and so we actually also have a clip of Menergy by Patrick Kelly featuring Sylvester that we wanted everyone to hear. Yes.
I need to feel the bass.
So Patrick Kelly really changed the sound of disco in San Francisco.
Yeah, he did. He had more, of course, electronic sound, synthesizers like Giorgio Moroder, but San Francisco's version of that, and he was amazing, and he teamed up with Sylvester to do more of his high energy songs, and when I think of Sylvester too, I think of a fusion. He's such a fusion in so many ways. Musically, teamed up with Patrick Holly to have like the electronic sound with the gospel and R&B sound that he had, and just as a personality, he was kind of a fusion of so many things.
Yeah, and before we had words like non-binary or genderqueer in the popular lexicon, he was kind of embodying that and paving the way for that expression.
Definitely, and after a while, in the record label, in the industry, they were trying to get him to tone down his flamboyance, and he just would not have that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That too.
Thank you for that, right?
Right. Yeah, and to turn it to a much sadder topic, Sylvester and Patrick Kelly both passed from AIDS.
Right.
Yeah, and you saw Sylvester shortly before he passed, right, Steve?
Yeah, I was playing at Dreamland, which was 3rd and Harrison Street, for a tea dance in the late 80s, in '88. And at that time, Sylvester was really sick. He was so. When he came in, he paid a surprise visit into the club. He was actually wheeled in on a wheelchair on the second tier. There was like 2 tiers at the club at Dreamland, and the DJ booth was down on the dance floor at that time, and. One of the promoters came and said, "Guess what? Sylvester's actually here." I said, "Oh my God!" And so the light person put a spotlight on him, and he was right above me. I was, of course, in the DJ booth there, and so I just started playing a medley of his songs, and it lasted for about 45 minutes. And then I just decided to end cold, just fade out. And then they put the spotlight on him again. And he got up and basically he waved to people and said, goodbye, I love you. And everyone on the dance floor just started cheering, but also crying. And it was just, that was, the last time that, we saw him, in a club. So
yeah,
it's just, after he left, the club was going to go on till 4 in the morning. After he left, people were they were still stamping on the floor and cheering, but also crying, and just went on and on. And I just said, that's it. And people just, slowly filed out. So, we couldn't. Nobody could do anything after that. So the club just, in honor of him, he closed down.
Yeah.
Point.
What an unforgettable artist, so heartbreaking. And during that time, there was very little government support for AIDS healthcare or research or anything. So how did people in the club scene come together during the crisis and rally around each other?
People, well, for a while, people were they were definitely freaked out, and the attendance went down a little bit in the clubs, but then people realized that, well, wait a second, if we only have a limited amount of time left, we need to be together. So they started going out to the clubs again, and then people started doing fundraisers in the clubs, and people needed to be together, and they needed to be together on the dance floor, and maybe more than ever at that time. And so, there was a lot more activity going on in the clubs, and at that time, where people were raising money and also teaching people about safe sex and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Tita, when you came to San Francisco in '89, that's when you became active as a HIV sex educator as well as an entertainer.
Yeah, for me, I had so much intersectionality of me that, I saw myself not getting access to different spaces, and then if I do get access to spaces, I would not be able to really be part of it, like being Asian. And at that time, I was also trying to find my identity as a trans person. In the Philippines, there's no, the term transgender wasn't really big yet, It was, if you were assigned male at birth and you were assigned male at birth and you became flamboyant, then you're gay, And then if you were assigned female at birth and you grew up to be butch, then you're a lesbian, So it's kind of like I was looking for my identity, but I found myself in clubs, and these were safe spaces for me because I love music, I love to dance. And then, of course, HIV came into the picture, and it was like the elephant that people will not, in the room that people were not talking about. And although I think one thing that turned things around is that when the latter part of, I think maybe in the 90s, where, Elizabeth Taylor started doing her advocacy work, Magic Johnson tested positive, and then some people became a little bit more, comfortable with it, There was a time, I don't know if anybody here remember, even Ronald Reagan couldn't say the word AIDS.
Right.
Yeah. And so people were just, and then I saw that, and that's when I kind of started becoming involved because, well, I saw all these ads out there, and it was mostly, white folks, and there were no Asians. And that's when I started kind of like, okay, we can dance too, and we party too, and we can get AIDS too, So maybe we need to do something about this, so.
Yeah, so how did you incorporate safe sex messages into your act as an entertainer?
Well, does anybody know the N-Touch? Remember the N-Touch Club? Okay, so it's a small, dingy club, on Polk Street. So, but I did my thing there. So, I usually would welcome folks with this. We do this guerrilla theater, with the Asian AIDS Project before. And when I would do lip sync acts, I would have balloons with me. And then, it's kind of like a demonstration where someone would pour baby oil on this hand. I'm wearing a glove. And then someone will pour water-based lube here. And then while I was lip sync, I'm like, And then suddenly the one on the left side, which had the baby oil, would pop, So then at the end, I would grab my, so always remember to use water-based lube, and all that stuff. So, and I think it was really more of like, there was a little comedy in it, plus there was something that people could, they listen to comedy. People love to see things that are amusing, so, plus my makeup wasn't as perfect, so.
That's amazing. So also in the late 80s, that's when house music really started taking off from the Chicago underground scene. So how did it make its way over here to the Bay Area?
David.
That's the god of
I know how I discovered it. I discovered it once again through radio. I was down in Southern California trying to get a degree in broadcasting, but I was also finding myself. So I was venturing out with one of my dear friends all over Hollywood looking for boys and not going to class, listening to the radio, and we're hearing all the latest records. And I heard, I don't know if you guys know this record, but Roberta Flack, Ooh Ah, Look Out. Mm-hmm. And it was a Steve Silk Hurley remix. And I just was like, what is this?
What is it?
I ended up having to move back home, back to Seaside, Monterey. And I was just looking for that music. Finally, a friend of mine said, let's go to San Francisco. And I think I went to Colossus, was my first club at 10:15, and I went there the night that they had the club kid on the mirror ball, and they were moving that mirror ball up and down from the floor up, and I was just like, I want more. And that's how it started for me. I just kept looking for it, and I eventually started DJing in San Francisco with Aaron O, 92 at Sound Factory, and then the residencies at Lyft, and then taking over, Aaron was an intricate part for you and I for sure, of the club scene. And when he passed, I took the baton at Club Universe, which was one of his residencies, and I was there for 7 years after that. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, we did Lyft together, and that was kind of our thing. Was we would switch off, so it would be every other week. But and Aaron, when he finally took a back seat, like he was not going to be coming to the club anymore. We knew that it was something that was going on.
And we kind of kept, I know for myself and a few of the family here, we really try to keep that energy that he gave alive too.
Absolutely. So. I mean, he gave me my first gigs, and they end up playing, and I just feel like that was such a loss. And, that was one of the first DJs that I lost, and that's so long ago.
Can I just tell everybody, in case you guys don't know, Aaron Oliveras was an amazing DJ. He was a Latin brother, beautiful man who was really making a name for himself here in San Francisco, and a lot of us sort of gravitated to him, which we later became Rhythm, Fag Fridays, Lyft, Sound Factory, Taboo. All that stuff sort of comes from this legendary DJ who passed away from us in '96. So,
which is very young, and considering where my career was at, it's like 4 or 5 years into my career. So I mean, and probably into your career as well.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
So David, how did you eventually end up getting your gig on KMEL on Yo Mama's House?
Well, I started the show with fellow DJ Ruben Mancias and a promoter friend of ours, Joseph Solis. We were all mutual friends with St. John from Moving 99.7, and they were starting a show on Wild 107. And I was doing that with them, and eventually, Peter Vila, who is a legend in his own right here in the Bay Area, was he invited me, Joey Arberjay, who was the program director of KMEL at the time, invited me to dinner and asked me to be a part of the show. They were creating this new show after Hashkareli, who was another amazing. He was the one that created sort of the crossover sound for radio, which is what we kind of hear today in Top 40. And he used to do an underground show. And when he left to go work for J Records and Arista Records, that's when things sort of took a turn, and that's how I got on Cameo. I was there on Cameo from 95 till 99, doing Your Mama's House every Friday night, Saturday morning.
Amazing. So we actually have a classic house track that, David, you said you like to play on the show. So can we hear a little of To Be in Love by Masters at Work in India? So good. Also, just a reminder to the folks in the audience, if you have any questions for our panelists, just write them on your note card and raise it up, and our producers will come collect them and pass them up here to us. So Black, so around the same time, that was when you started your blunt parties. So what brought that about?
A joint. A blunt. It was with Nastia. Everybody knows if you remember back in the day. Nastia, Santoy, Lauren, Tay. We did a party and we wanted a joint to mean something. So we were like, well, let's call it Blacks and Latins Uniting New Tribes. And then we got an Asian person in. Then we was like, let's call it a blunt. And just in case, drugs are always a great story to create a party around. And so we did that because we wanted to make sure that we could provide a space for women of color. You know, there were a lot of clubs for white women, but there wasn't one that catered to our sound, our heart, what we did, hip hop, house music, and it was, you know, something that was very needed in San Francisco in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Now there's like everybody's has.
Yeah, and the gay club scene kind of historically had a racism problem, and Black, you DJ'd at the first Black-owned gay club in San Francisco, which was Eagle Creek Saloon. So what was it like playing there?
So I went in there and I was like, I want to play, and there was this DJ that was there that was out of town. And they said, you can play as long as she doesn't come back. And when she comes back, you're going to have to stop playing. And I was like, okay, but we want you to play this song. We want you to play that song, ooh, ooh, bitch, that ain't fair. Give this horsey back her hair. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go buy this record. I think it was a Warlock record. And so I went and bought it. And I came and I played, I think on one of the oldest turntables ever, on a Techniques turntable with a 33. It was like the pitch control was broken up into two things, and it was a turn pitch control, and it was 33 and 44. And I was like, and the other one was what we use today as a turntable. Right. And I was like, I am going to learn a lot today. And it was very beautiful because, you know, Miss Hoo Hoo used to come there. And they used to throw some of the best Black drag shows, you know, back in the 90s.
Oh, that's incredible. So we have another of the tracks that you like to play during those days. So can we hear a little Big Fun by Inner City?
Somebody has to vote.
Having big fun.
Oh, such a good song. Yeah. So at the time, the mainstream gay scene was not very inclusive to trans women either. So Tita, how did you find safe places to party?
Well, you know, I mean, so before and now are two different things, of course. You know, before, I mean, trans folks were not really in the spotlight before. You know, if you presented as a woman and you came into the club, you're a woman, you know, and but present yourself as a woman, and people will kind of suspect that there's something going on with this woman, and like, and it was not, so we have to perfect our art, like make sure that hair is there, because you don't want it being thrown around on the dance floor or something like that. So, and but we went to clubs, and because it's trans women, there's something about trans women when you walk into the way we walk, the attitude, people notice that immediately. And I was always decked nicely, like I would prepare my 3 outfits to choose from and what I'm gonna wear, so things like that. So, but it was different because again, trans folks before, when we get, this is the term that we use when we get clocked, by the people in the club, then they start, they start all this buzzing and everything, and it makes us feel uncomfortable, So the end up was perfect for us because there were so many places that we can go and hide and we won't be seen, So, so when someone suspects that, there's this, trans women and everything, and people will just sometimes shout it out in your face, So, and it was also in some way unsafe because if you were dancing with a guy and they didn't know that you were trans, and then someone tells him, "Oh, you're dancing with a dude," things like that, he would panic, and sometimes he'd call security and they get these people out, things like that. So it was different. For now, we're all over the place, I mean, we have, we are, I think everybody here, we've arrived. The ship came down, and we all came out from the ship, So, and I think that the community, our community is more now accepting, more understanding, more passionate about, because we see trans kids right now, and they're beautiful, so.
Yes. And so how did you get involved with Asia SF and Club Asia in those early days?
So there was a club called, once upon a time, there was a club called Club Asia, and this was once a month, I believe, party that was put together by Larry Hashbarger, who is the producer of Macy's Passport, and also Skip Young and Greg Lockamy. So that is incredible. It was in Audrey's warehouse.
That was on King Street.
King Street, on King Street. And this was like not the N-Touch type of group, but this was kind of like the new age Asian Pacific Islander, muscle folks, muscle guys and everything. So and then they did, we had to have a little circuit, so, and then kind of like they went to New York and saw this restaurant called Lucky Chances. No, Lucky Chang's, not Lucky Chances, is in Daly City, but Lucky Chang's, where all the servers were either trans or drag, and the food was horrible in that restaurant, So, and but the performers were great, and Larry said, "Why don't we put something like this open something like this in San Francisco?" And we're now 24 years open, So, a lot of the restaurants that opened at the same time as Asia SF opened, they closed down already, And I was not supposed to. I just auditioned because my roommate wanted to get in, but instead I got in and she didn't, And she paid $10,000 for those, So, and I didn't have any, at that time. So, but Asia SF has always been, I think, a haven for trans women who really want to thrive, because I work with some of these amazing trans women who work hard. You think it's so easy for us to get on that? Who's been here to Asia SF? Yeah, where we perform, right? It's very narrow, I mean, I'm wider than the stage, So, but we perform there, and it's not just ABCs, it's really, there's discipline involved, and so that's how I got involved. And I've been with them I've been with them for almost 21 years. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a question for everyone, but as you've matured through your careers, what have you done to pass the torch to the next generation and kind of bring up the next generation of queer artists and activists?
I've taught so many DJs. I think I even taught his manager. So I mean, just helping the next generation. For me, I didn't see a lot of women. So as I was, when I didn't see them, I was like, well, maybe I should make them.
Yeah.
So I just started helping DJs, female DJs, become more relevant. I mean, like now they're everywhere. It's kind of amazing. But when I started off, it was maybe 5, Reborn, Pam the Funkstress, Paige Hodel, Jan Cooley. It's just, it was just so few. You can name them on your hand. Yeah. And I felt like in order to see that, someone has to go out there and teach that. And my teacher, which Nadia helped foster my career, but also Sexy DJ, who's out of LA, who taught at the Catch One, she said, each one teach one. And that's how you get to this place where now you see so many female DJs. Right. But 25 years ago, I had to kind of beg to get on the stage, and thanks to Aaron O and people who knew that that I wanted to be a DJ, male DJs who wasn't pushing me aside and also giving me a hand. That was really important, and the club promoters who made that happen.
Yeah, and some of the people you've mentored have gone on to be pretty prominent DJs in their own right, like Lady Ryan, DJ Emancipation, Gorilla Pump.
Well, I didn't teach Gorilla, but I mean, when they call me the mother of DJs, it's because when they call me up and ask me a question, or because I know how to put so many things together, like how to plug this thing into that thing. It's like I've gone through every stage of whatever it took to be a DJ as it changed technology-wise. I never thought we were going to be doing CDs. I never even thought we were going to be using computers. I always thought we were going to have to carry records. And when 9/11 happened and we couldn't get on the plane with all our records, and they was charging us, I was like, now I have to move to Serato. And I was fighting it. I was fighting it so hard. And because, I felt like technology was going to take away, which it did, take away from the basics of what it takes to be, like I have a student that one time I was like, put that needle on the record, and first of all, it was my record, and it just, oh, Jesus, so it's kind of, they don't know that technology, and nor do I know I don't do a lot of punching, and how they do like tapping in. I'm not that DJ. I still try to use the old school skills, a simple scratch. So that's so important to how we continue doing our skills.
Yeah.
I think for myself, yes, girl.
Yes.
For myself, I don't teach anyone, but I have had people come and ask me, the fundamentals of how to spin records. And I usually tell them how I sort of taught myself, because I taught myself, no one showed me. And even to this day, as technology continues to move forward, being 54 years old, damn near, you're still trying to learn and perfect your craft. But one of the things I would always tell anybody that wanted to DJ is like, listen to your favorite DJs. I mean, you're able to do that anywhere now, and just listen to how they blend their songs together. And if you have the techniques to be able to do those type of things in your own home, emulate it. It gets you to learn how to beat match and just ride that rhythm. I am notorious for putting
mix.
2 songs together and letting those 2 records ride till the cats come home. So, and I'm still perfecting that after 30 plus years in this industry. I'm still perfecting it. So that's usually my teaching process. Listen to your friends. If you know people that know how to play music and know how to beat match things together, listen to what they're thinking. It really is more your mental technique that you're presenting to the world. And I'm still trying to do that to this day around the world, so.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentored a number of DJs over the years at Go Bang. That went on for like 12 years. And made a point of like, bringing in new DJs to do guest shots there. And over time, they, they became like regular guests. And so it was a way to, groom new people into the scene. And then I find out that some of them have started their own parties, and they have me playing at their parties. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Like what parties?
Oh, just like down in San Jose, like there's a whole crowd of DJs down there, like Eddie House or Eddie Perez. They came in to play Go Bang, and then they have their own parties in San Jose. And they bring me down to play at those parties. And but yeah, I mean, there's over the years there's been quite a few people that have got their first guest shot at Go Bang.
That's amazing. Yeah, and Tita, what about you? I'm sure that you've opened the door for so many activists and performers.
You know what? One thing that is, there were so many times in my life that I would tell myself that I don't think I'm going to see that in this lifetime, in my lifetime, But it happens, I see trans women who are DJs now, I work with someone who lives in Europe, Alexia, and she creates her own music, and so I think these are the role models. They hear your music, they see you, they watch your technique and everything, and we see them there. So I'm happy that's happening.
You just know that they have that special talent. I remember when I first met Emancipation, and I was like, you want to mix those two songs? I know you have the great, the main key is having the right music. Right. And then once you have that, you pretty much halfway there. And then once learning the technique, I was just like, you want to learn this technique? And then when they did it, I was like, that's cool. I mean, I appreciate the effort that they put into learning their craft today.
And as you're learning that craft, one of the most fundamental things that you need to know is how to read a crowd. You can't just play a record and just assume anybody is going to dance to that.
Yeah.
You have to read. I'm known for playing very soulful stuff, but I know that I can't do soulful stuff at a leather party. So I gotta beef it up. It's still going to be my sound and my style, but it's just a total different type of groove. But it's still the fundamentals of me and how I like to play. So.
And especially for somebody who has to travel to many places where you're not used to you create your crowd in your own home, but once you get out to other cities and other places, you are like, whoa, that nervousness really kicks in. You're like, and different people do different sounds in different places.
So true.
Right.
So true.
Yeah, so we got some great audience questions. So this is a very sweet question. Can you all share your feelings about chosen family and how it's changed your lives? It's everything to me, writes this person.
Being gay?
Yeah.
I mean,
Can we elaborate a little bit more?
yeah, I mean, I feel like our chosen family, that's why we came to this place, to San Francisco, is to find a place where we were safe and that we can find friends and make a kinship and make a family. Because a lot of us starting off, especially for our age, we're a little older, where your parents didn't support that. They were like, oh, hell no, no way, you're gay? I mean, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, so I knew that was going to be out the, but my mother came around prior to her passing, and she was like more like the sense she said to me, she goes, you know what, I don't mind you being gay, what I don't like is drugs. And I was like, I get you, I understand that part. And that was her turning point. So when I got around family and I started talking to folks about like what made me happy was being around other people who identified as being lesbians. I'm a Black lesbian. I wanted to be around other Black lesbian, other queer women of color. In particular, that's why I named myself Black.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I think, the dance floor is a sanctuary, for us, and it is a spiritual thing for us. It's,
Totally.
we say it's our religion,
Yeah.
and and it's been that way, you know, since disco, and has continued on, and it's still there. It's still out there.
Very much
Yeah.
so. Very much
And-
so.
And everyone knows when they're at home with each other, and you don't even have to describe it. It's like, it's the feeling. It's just knowing that it's family.
We created our families by going to the particular parties, and you would see those same people every week. And after a while, you just go up to them and go, "Hey, I saw you last week. Did you have a good time?" No. Next thing you know, I still have this whole circle right here. Is how I met them, and we still kick it together till this day.
Yes.
So it's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. And I actually, I kind of feel like I've had sort of a fairy tale coming out. It was weird, and I've always grown up, like I said, through the military, having the namesake of my father, and hearing how, that military man, but my father was the coolest cat. And they support everything that I've done. They've been in my corner since day one. And
Oh, that's
love y'all.
amazing.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I try to do that for everybody else as well. So.
What about for you, Tita?
I'm going to do a Miss Universe moment here. What was the question again?
Just
All I heard was family.
yeah, what's chosen family meant to you?
Oh, I feel I'm very lucky that I have a lot of chosen family when I came here to San Francisco. What attracted me to San Francisco actually is that all the porn magazines that I saw in the Philippines, the models were from San Francisco. So I was like, I said, I want to be with those people, so and everything. But when I started realizing my identity, that's when my chosen family really were, when I first got here in 1989, I tell this to folks when I do my speech, I became homeless 3 times, and homeless is, or unhoused, has different meanings, meaning like you could be unhoused because you're couch surfing, or you have this big U-Haul trailer and you're pulling from your car, things like that. But the folks who really took me in the first time I got here in '89 were I call them the painted ladies. They were Black trans women who had knives in their purses, and they were strolling along O'Farrell Street, and when they see us, the Asian, we're like little dolls to them. And the girl, what you been up to? Things like that. And say, come here. They fed me. They made me sleep in their couches, and they taught me a lot about being street smart and all that stuff. So I adore my painted ladies, and some of them, most of them are gone already, but they're my very first chosen family. And then I have San Francisco Community Health Center, Asia SF, and it's so important to have this, especially for a trans person who, a lot of trans folks have been abandoned by their families, by their blood families, and they leave their place that they grew up, and they have to go somewhere like San Francisco, so, but so I'm very appreciative of family.
Yeah, so we got an audience question for you specifically, and so this person asks, there were a few clubs that were safe spaces for trans women. Can you talk about devotion at End Up and what it meant to be in that space?
So, somebody knows you.
Yeah, somebody knows me very well. Well, I think everyone knows. Devotion was a Sunday club that was happening at the End Up, and we were so attracted with the name. In fact, I was supposed to wear a T-shirt tonight that had Devotion, but it was a medium, and after 10 years, I'm a large now, or extra large, so. But okay, I lost my thought there, but no, Devotion was a club that I enjoyed so much because there was an incident that happened, like what I said earlier, so one of the operators of the club, when I was dancing with this guy, told the guy that I was trans, or that I had the same plumbing, with the guy, so and everything. So I heard that. My friend heard that. So I came. I said, "Oh, the guy left and all this stuff." So, and the next week, I told Eric Baca and also Ruben. Yes, I said, I don't care what people say about me, but just imagine if you're operating a club like this, and you do that, you're putting me at harm, because what if that person suddenly, just like while dancing, found out and just socked me in the face or something, So it was like so. And then ever since then, I've gained titanium privilege status at Devotion. So I love Devotion.
Nice.
I wish he would come back. So
we miss them.
Yeah. So we got a question for Steve. So, Steve, what do you think Sylvester would be most excited about during Pride in 2022, and what would they be most disappointed about?
Well, Pride 2022. I think Sylvester would just be happy that it still exists, and not having it for the last couple of years. Well, we kind of had it last year, but it's going to be full tilt Pride this year. I think what he would not like about it would be maybe the commercialism of it. Maybe it's gotten a little too commercial.
Budweiser, all the names that are behind it. When it was a march, a protest. I mean, I'm glad that we get to have this for joy, but a lot of people put their lives in danger for this pride that's happening. I mean, that's the reason why I'm not Grand Marshal. I'm Grand Marsha, just to make sure that we understand that Marsha P. Johnson started this. Let's make sure that we have.
Yes.
I am not coming to the word Marshal just kind of threw me off because I was like, people are being taken away. We've gone through the whole Trump era, people coming into people's homes and taking them away from their family. And I was like, I want to be my best Grand Marshal, my best Sylvia. I want to be those people that have really embodied, and I think we should probably drop Marshal altogether.
Grand Marsha is a much more fitting title. Yeah. So we just have time for one more question, but I wanted to end by asking you all, what are you excited about that you're working on right now or that you have coming up next?
Well, I'm playing in the UK. I'm playing the Glastonbury Festival. New York Island. And then a week later, I'm playing London Pride at Horsemeat Disco. So
another legendary party.
So I'm a little excited about it.
Yes, international. And what about you, Tita?
Well, Trans March. I organized Trans March, and thank you. I just want to take this advantage also, this opportunity to just let everyone know that we are our own protector. Because now, I mean, we've seen all the things that are happening around the city, the country. All the shootings and all that stuff. So I'm still a little nervous, that we're going to be in person, but I'm trying to overcome that. Because I believe in my community, I believe in the transgender community, our resilience and dedication. So that's what I've been working on. And I also do, still doing Asia SF, and not too much anymore because sometimes they have to wheel me in, 20 or 33 years, it's no joke. So.
And Black?
I have this Saturday. I will be at El Rio. It's free, and we'll come through. It's going to be a daytime party, and for Juneteenth I will be at Bassa. That's going to be amazing. It's going to be Juneteenth with Pride, and that's from 2 to 5, and that's on the corner of Grove and Divisadero. So come out if you have time for that. That's Saturday, Sunday. And then I'm doing every second Friday at Allspice at 7th West. And that's a late night party, and that's for everybody. And I'm going to be your Grand Marshal for 2022.
And you have your own Pride after party, right?
Oh, yes, I forgot. I have my own Pride after party that's going to be at Bricks in Oakland. For those people who live in Oakland, we're going to bring it back home so you can have a safe trip back home.
Yeah.
So come out, and that's going to be like 12 DJs. Yes, how are we going to do 12 DJs? You'll see.
Can't wait. And David, what about yourself?
I'm busy.
Yeah.
I actually just finished working on a compilation for Molten Music, which is going to be released Pride Weekend. I do a compilation for the label pretty much every year for this time of the year for my family. And so I've been in the studio working on that. Just finished a remix for Ted Patterson's Roots, which is coming out as well. I'm doing another sort of discussion for Black queer house music here in the Bay Area tomorrow night over at the Bijou Film Festival in Oakland. So I'll be there tomorrow night with Patrick Wilson, Nina Soul, Anita Lofton, and DJ Lamont. So I'm super excited about that. And then we got the Mighty Real Poolside Pride Weekender.
Yes.
So I have Dave Morales coming out, Derek Carter, Ted Patterson, DJ Heather from Chicago, Jimmy Dupree, Jeremy Rosebrook, Nina Soul, myself, and then we have Robin S. performing on Sunday. And then I'm in the UK for 3 weeks in August, for Newcastle Bump and Hustle, and I'm doing a huge festival called The Beautiful People. Oh. So I'm all over the place.
Booked and busy.
Yeah.
Well, please give it up for our panelists. This has been such an amazing discussion. And if you enjoyed this conversation, you might be interested in checking out a series that KQED's podcast Right Now is just doing right now. It's called Searching for a Kiki, and it's a 4-part series on the past, present, and future of queer Black spaces. So check that out. Yeah, and then, so now we're gonna have a dance party that Black is gonna take us into. So, for the folks in the first 2 rows, I think our producers are gonna come and take your chairs, and then everyone's just invited to come up, mingle, dance, talk to our guests. So thanks for being here.
superficial hatred, and let's learn to share. Can you feel it? It's in the air. Now it's time for changes. Time for us to care. Follow me. Why don't you follow me to a place where we can be free? I'm right back to you. I'm right back to you. I'm right back to you. Yeah. Everything I see reminds me of you. When I left, baby, I bit off more than I could chew. I searched the world all around. A better love can't be found. I'm tired of my chase. Always see a smiling face. I've tried so hard to forget your embrace, but I can't find another any place. I've asked all my friends, what can I do? But the trail always leads right back to you. Right back to you. Right back to you. Yeah. Right back to you. Thought I could leave with no regrets, but a heartache is all I'm at. My head is spinning around. I can't tell up from down. It's my intuition that you're the cause of my condition. Oh, I'm right back to you. Right back to you. Yeah. I'm right back to you. I'm begging you, please. Everybody's searching for a place where they belong, but I found a place where I can do no wrong. Everybody's loving me for being me, but I never thought that I could be so free. Yes, I'm a dancer, round and round. The music's got me high. I don't want to come down. It was the perfect atmosphere. Now it's just a memory far away from here. That's where I wanna be, is in the nightlife. I'm trying hard to find this place again. Lord knows I'm glad at least I've been. Bring me back the night. I need you in my life. The memories are oh so dear. Days go by, I wish that you were here. And all I know is the here and now. Gonna make my way back some way, somehow, some way, somehow. That's where I wanna be, is in the nightlife. So far away from here. Oh, that's where I wanna be. So far away from here. So far away from here. Oh, that's where I wanna be. So far away from here. So far away.